Break the vision. Building perspective. Issue dissect views, mindsets.
Those farmers, those marketers, processors and marketers still earn from agriculture, not only for themselves, but also for Nigeria.
On Burgami, the current affairs morning teaser on Vision FM 92.1, where Nigerians discuss Nigeria.
It's very sad. Even the places that have been demolished, they have been allocated to themselves. I can see crisis ahead of us.
There's something definitely wrong with our reward system, and that attracts corruption. How many Nigerian civil servants can today be able to put a roof over their head with the salary they are receiving?
Burgami, current, expository, daring.
Observing the trends of corruption within the National Assembly, within the executive arm of the government, at the state, at the local government, state and the national level, whatever is the tenure, unless the issue of corruption is being tackled, we are telling the state of development by using a term of government as a yardstick will remain a mirage in Nigeria.
Burgami, every weekday at 8 a.m., exclusive to the vision of the nation's capital.
Yes, welcome you back to the Burgami Summit Breakfast Show. This is the Burgami part of the show, where we bring you topics of interest to our dear listeners. And today is no different. It will be something in which everybody can participate. Our telephone number still remains. The topic is Nigeria among the worst governed nations in Africa? Is Nigeria among the worst governed nations in Africa? And I have a guest already in the studio. That's Honorable Shehu Atta, who's a public affairs analyst. So we will expect your phone call. But please, if your call does not go through when you expect it to go, don't give up. Just redial again. So, is Nigeria among the worst governed nations in Africa? The background to that is the Mo Ibrahim Foundation has ranked Nigeria amongst one of the 11 countries in Africa with the highest level of deterioration in governance in the last 10 years. In a new report, 2024 Ibrahim Index of African Governance, IAG, published by the foundation, it saw Nigeria slump 3 places from 30th on the continent to 33rd, making it one of the worst ruled states since 2014. Established in 2006, the foundation says it is dedicated to strengthening the African voice on global challenges, especially by providing data and analysis to assess continental challenges. Published 2007, IAG assesses the public governance performance of 54 African countries every 2 years over the last decade. IAG data comes from 49 independent sources, some of which are financially supported by Mo Ibrahim Foundation. Overall, Nigeria scored 45.7%, flopping on absence of armed conflict, 2.1%, and scoring 39% on security and rule of law, while 47.3% on accountability and transparency rounded that score. On anti-corruption, Nigeria scored 28.9%. It scored 47% on inclusion, 43% on equality, 59% on women equality, while 48.6% on economic opportunity, 41% on infrastructure, and 44.6% on health, 51% on education, 44% on social protection, and 45% on sustainable development. In all, 33 countries in Africa made progress in governance during the last decade, while 21 countries became worse in 2023 than it was in 2014. In fact, the topic is Nigeria among the worst governed nations in Africa comes at the right time. I think Honorable Shehu Attar couldn't make it. So I have here Suleiman Mande, who's a program officer of CISLAC, which is Transparency International Nigeria. Please welcome to the show, Suleiman.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
And sorry for confusing us, Honorable Shehu Attar.
That's fine.
Anyway, if you did that to me, I'd be boxing you by now. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You know, the one thing, because this subject matter couldn't have come at the right time, could have come better, that is, people are saying that this government should not be held responsible for the current economic crisis in the country. If you don't hold this government responsible, who are you going to hold? Because they are a continuation of the last government.
For sure.
What is your take on this?
Good morning, Nigerians. It is important to understand that every time people speak, they speak from the angle of, patriotism and love for good governance. They desire for them to point out some of the issues that are concerning to the citizens. I'm saying this because, we have been speaking on the current governance issues right from the before the inception of this administration, that if even the previous administration did not take measures to address some of the key issues that even this Mo Ibrahim report revealed, that the subsequent administration is going to find itself in a very, very difficult situation, and we are seeing the result of it. And at that time, we are being seen as people who oppose the government, who are attacking the government. And this is exactly where we don't want our country to be. And this is exactly where we find ourselves. So I think we cannot reverse the things that happened. We can only advise the government and advocate for improved policies. What has happened has already happened, but it should be a lesson point for the government, for policymakers to truly sit down and say, hey, we made some bad choices and decisions that are negatively affecting the citizens. So I think we need to reverse some of the policies that are negatively affecting the citizens. And this way, we try and maybe redeem our honor and dignity, because whether we like it or not, we don't have any credibility in the international community, to be honest, because of the nature of our leadership, right? Leadership that strips the citizens of its own, honor and dignity when it comes to education, healthcare, and basic infrastructure. These are the basic and fundamental rights of every human being in the world. Safety and security, of course, yeah. But we are seeing the growing deterioration of all these things, and it's really concerning. But we are optimistic that if we can do the right things at all times, especially looking at it from the angle of the policymakers, because they are the lawmakers. They are the ones who make the laws that run the affairs of the country. So if they can be patriotic enough, or more patriotic, let me put it this way, I think we'll be able to revive our honor and dignity and maybe save some of the pains that our people are going through.
Brother Suleiman, let's take a step back. First of all, what do you know about the Mo Ibrahim Foundation? How credible would you say their assessment really is?
First of all, let me say that this is a foundation that belongs to an African man. It doesn't belong to a foreign man. So he pretty much knows all the challenges that Africa is going through. He's conversant about the nature of the leadership and the leaders themselves. He's conversant about the issues of governance in Africa. So this alone is more than enough to communicate a level of credibility and integrity that, of course, whatever this foundation puts out is speaking from the pains of Africa, from the perspective of Africa, not from the perspective of some foreigners who don't live in the continent, who don't know about the leadership or the leaders themselves, who are not conversant about the key challenges in the continent. So it's a very credible organization due to the fact that this comes from the African continent. And most importantly, all of the issues addressed in the report are not lies. These are issues that are prevalent in the society. These are issues that everybody knows about and everybody is complaining about. Even the leaders make the policies. They pretty much know everything about these issues. So there is nothing about lack of credibility. So it's a very credible organization, a very credible report. If you go through even the categories, the subcategories, the things that they address, there's pretty much no lies about all the things that they address. So it's a very credible organization.
In terms of governance, how well or otherwise do you think the current administration of President Bola Tinubu has done so far? Because if you look at it, they literally took us back to 2023. That means they are looking at, they're appraising Nigeria on an annual basis. And for this to come out, this comes out every 2 years, the kind of report that you get, would you say President Bola Tinubu, how well has he done so far? Or is just another crazy opportunity that people see in order to attack Nigeria?
Like I mentioned before, right? These are issues that are pretty much conversant to everyone. These are issues that are, evident. Everyone knows these are, tangible issues. These are critical issues that are of concern to Nigerians. So for somebody to say that it's an opportunity to attack, a government is pretty much not the right thing to do, and it's not the right way to address issues. I think it's important to also understand that this is not a report that reveals some key issues that Nigeria is facing. It covers the whole of Africa. So there is no point of maybe sidelining one country or maybe opposition or attacking a particular country. This covers the 54 African countries. Every country has its own figures. Every country has its own, its own index of development.
This looks literally very thorough, because if you look at the breakdown, how they were able to segment the different parts, and they were able to assign different different figures to how well. I asked you this deliberately in the sense that people are still, I make no bones about it. People are still kind of befuddled by the fact that there is a president called Bola Tinubu when you're out there. And why is the Naira behaving? I'm now personalizing the Naira. Why is the Naira behaving the way it is when you have a president? And, we know presidents are not the only people who are alone in making sure that the economy is going the right direction. How well is the current administration of President Bola Tinubu? I asked you that for a reason. I need to hear from you. Because it's like you guys stay on the tail of the government. And you want to make sure that they do the right thing. How has Bola Tinubu done so far?
Let me put it this way. Looking at it from the angle of the behavior of Naira, Naira is controlled. The behavior of Naira is controlled by the policies of the people in government, right? So it is not the Naira that have the power. It is the people who make the policies that the Naira behaves in a way that, it's not so favorable to the citizens, right?
The Naira is, it goes into a tantrum.
Yeah, exactly. So it is not Naira's behavior, it is the behavior of the policymakers or the leaders, of course. So let us look at the categories of the nature, how the Mo Abraham categorized the development index. In terms of the four main categories, I'll look at it from that angle, right? They said number one is security and the rule of law. The number two is participation, rights and inclusion, and foundation for what? Economic opportunities, and then human development. So these are the four categories, right? So if you look at these four categories now, they also have subcategories, right? Like under the security and the rule of law, we have issues of the absence of maybe violent conflicts, absence of non-state actors, conflict, the presence of maybe adequate security, even the number of security personnel that are in operation. So these are some of the issues. And if you look at it critically, you realize that, considering these sub-indicators and what is happening on ground, then there is a level of, continuous deterioration in terms of security and even obedience of the rule of law. For example, like we have seen incidences whereby maybe even government officials are caught red-handed. There is tangible evidence and proofs. But because we don't follow the rule of law, they're not sanctioned, they're not punished because they're above the law. So there is no adequate protection for the citizens, and there is no adequate protection for the rule of law, right? So if we take the participation and rights and inclusion as well, I think there is an ongoing conversation about the gender bill of the thing, which covers the aspect of participation and rights of inclusion of women, youth, and persons with disability, for example. If you look at this category, we are not doing very well. And I'm not going to say that we are not doing anything at all, but, we are not doing good enough to actually speak to the actual representation and participation and inclusion that every democratic governance should have before it actually succeeds in terms of, the improvement of its governance index or the improvement of its human and economic development. Because if democracy cannot thrive when there is no adequate inclusion of youth, women, and persons with disability, because the inclusion gives rise to the ability of the citizens to effectively contribute to the human and economic development of the country, which contributes to what?
Brother Solomon, I thought you represent Sislak Transparency International.
Of course.
Which party do you represent here in Nigeria?
Which party?
Yes.
I represent my party.
Because I'm asking you a direct question. You're just going around, skirting around. Answer that first, then you can give me all the breakdown. I asked you, the current administration of President Bola Tinubu, how has it done so far? In terms of, do you think the current administration has done very well? If you say yes, then you can give me all those lovely statistics. If you say no, then you let me know exactly why not.
Yeah, I'm giving you the lovely statistics, let me put it this way, because at the end of the day, this is not a question of a yes or no answer. It requires a breakdown. So that's why I was breaking it.
No, I will expect you to break it down.
Yeah.
First, I need to know what your take is. Is he doing well so far? If you have to categorize it in that term, is he doing well?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then now we can go into the depth of why not.
So actually, I have to. You have to take me back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't want you to politicize. We just go with straight.
That's fine. But for the records, I don't represent any political party.
I know. I'm just messing with it.
No. Listeners, so that you know. So I represent my organization, the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, and I'm speaking from the report. I'm breaking it down because this is what we're discussing. So that to make that for that clarity. The current administration is not doing well enough, right, to improve the governance system in the country, to be honest. If you look at the indicators that I mentioned earlier, even from the report, the security and the rule of law, the participation rights and inclusion foundation for economic opportunity, human development, right? Yes, of course, we know that there are pronouncements of policies to address these issues, right? But then we are not seeing any tangible results on ground, right? But of course, we can also say that the government is not completely doing anything. But because we have to do justice to these issues, right? But the government is truly not doing well enough to address these issues, to be honest.
Okay, let's isolate just two areas, two critical areas, and regardless as to who you talk to outside of Nigeria, the two areas or two things that you are questioned about are insecurity and corruption. What impact do you think insecurity and corruption have actually made in the overall governance rating of Nigeria?
Insecurity and corruption, I think today in Nigeria, these are the major issues that are, making our country go backward. Insecurity in terms of the inability of people to go and do work and add value to the economic development of the country, to go to their farms and farm the food that the country will depend on, to send their children to school for education, to go to hospitals for healthcare. And so this is it. This destroys the security sector of the country and provides an avenue for people to be afraid of going on their normal daily activities that add value to the economy of the country. And now, when it comes to corruption is what gives rise to the issues of even the insecurity in the first place. I say this because when people are not able to go to send their children to school, it is because there is no good schools, no quality education. And why is that, you may ask? Is because the leaders are not investing heavily in education. And you may ask, okay, Nigeria is vast in resources. Why is the money? Well, of course, the answer is obvious. The money is being stolen by the leaders, right? Corruption, right? So when it comes to when it comes to healthcare as well, right? People are not able to take care of their families when it comes to health. They don't have what it takes to go to the good hospitals. The government don't provide good healthcare facilities, no good medicines, right? So you ask again, where are the monies? The monies are not being invested. They're being stolen, right? The government officials or politicians are using those resources for their own self-interest, not to protect the interest of the citizens they represent. So overall, security and corruption are the main issues that are, curtailing Nigeria's development. Insecurity, and corruption. And until we are deliberate and intentional about addressing these issues, until we are patriotic enough, the leaders are patriotic enough to say that, look, we are in the position of power and responsibility to improve the lives of the citizens when it comes to education, healthcare, security, right? Good jobs, employment opportunities, right? Access to good infrastructure. These are the indices that provides good governance. These are the indices that improves the human and economic development of any country. So until we are deliberate and intentional and patriotic and now putting the interests of the citizens first, ahead of our own personal interests or ahead of the personal interests of the leaders, I think we still have a long way to go.
It's very interesting because I recall last year, even on this show, when people say, look, it's impossible to farm because people cannot. When you look at the breadbasket states, Benue, Nasarawa, you go to Katsina, you go to, but just to name a few, when they say people are unable to farm because of banditry and all the other stuff, I recall that I had a guest, and I said, you watch the next 2-3 years, and let's see the price of food, how it will escalate. So if we say that insecurity, how it now plays into the economy, it's very clear. When those people attack the farmers cannot plant, they cannot grow their crops and all the other stuff. Now we're complaining that food items have quadrupled and all that. We don't seem to trace those aspects to insecurity, and and that these things just did not happen overnight. It's taken a systematic path to where food prices and all those other things are clearly affected. See, so let's just let's look at give you one more shot as far as what can the government do to get a better rating. Well, let's put it like that, because we have to open the lines and allow our listeners to bombard you with their questions.
To bombard us, sir?
They bombard you. They're the guests. They bombard you all the time. It's your turn today.
All right, okay. So thank you. This is an interesting question. I think the first thing that I would say is that, our leaders need to be patriotic. Our leaders need to put the interest of the country first, the interest of the citizens first, ahead of their own interests. Because the reason why we are in this mess is because we have leaders who always choose and decide to channel and invest so much money into themselves than into the development of the country, which by extension means the development, investment in the people, right? So I think if we don't get it right in this aspect, we'll continue to have leaders who always come into office just to, to serve their interest, right? So this is the first thing. And if we have this, they always claim that we are doing it for the people. We're doing it for the good of the people. Even when the president speaks, you say, I understand your pain, right? But does the president truly understand the pains that Nigerians are going through when the president uses $100 million in this economy to buy a new jet?
It's preposterous.
Right? So this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
See, our leaders need to be sensitive enough. They have to have empathy and look at things from the perspective of the citizen, not from their own perspectives. Right? They need to understand this, and then they have to sit down and, okay, what are the cries of the citizens in terms of education? Okay, what are the issues? Then we address. In terms of healthcare, all right, what are the issues from the perspective of the citizens? Not them sitting in their own offices and thinking that this is what the citizens want. That is the essence of the representation that we have. We send our representatives from our own different constituents to Abuja, not to sit down in their offices to make assumptions, but to interact with the people back home and hear the needs of the people in terms of education, healthcare, and then that will inform the policies that the government will make that will address these issues from the perspective of the citizens. So government needs to listen at these issues from the perspective of the citizens, to understand the needs of the citizens, and to make policies, effective policies that will address these issues, not dependent on policies that are imposed from the outside, that don't quite address the needs of Nigerians. And for this to happen, there needs to be a serious deliberate and intentional desire to be patriotic, to put the interests of the country first ahead of personal interest.
Thank you very much. I would like to remind our listeners that they can also follow the program on his Instagram at the Burgami Summit Show. The Burgami, Burgami Summit. That is SUMMIT show. And my guest this morning so far is Sulaiman Mande, program officer with CISLAC Transparency International of Nigeria. We open the lines now. I think our lines, please keep your statement or keep your comments to roughly 2 minutes and 10 seconds. So we are expecting your call. 0916-770-9564. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Inshallah.
Yes, sir. How are you, brother?
I'm fine.
Good.
How's work?
Good. How was your weekend?
Fine.
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
My name is Oga Gabriel. I'm calling from Gwarimpa.
Oga, go ahead.
It's allowed to say Nigeria is the worst governance in Africa. It's like limiting the whole thing to Africa. I think Nigeria is one of the worst governments in the whole world, not only Africa.
Well, sir, I should not be laughing. But you know what? A lot of people agree with you. Oh, God, please go ahead.
Okay. So this is a government that doesn't care about our people. This is a government that makes policy that doesn't affect the people positively. This is a government that don't know what happens to the people in the country. This is a government that only enjoy within the government cycle. This is a government that people doesn't know what is happening in the within the government. This is a government that will make a policy, and whether it affects the people positively or negatively, they don't care. This is a government that people are dying in mass on a daily basis, and they do not care. This is a government that people are hungry, and they are creating more hardship to the people. This is a government that will come on board, and on the first day the government come on board, they make policy that affect the people negatively, and they never revise anyone. Instead, they increase imposing hardship on the people. How can a government be again? So I think, even I have not traveled outside, but I hear news, I read papers, and I listen to the radio. I have never had any country that the government behave this way. We have people in the National Assembly, the Senate, the House of Representatives, but they are not making policy that will make people to be happy for one day. When they see an area that people are happy with, they make their policy to affect that area and grab the area for themselves. This is a government that it is only them that are happy. This is a government that will make appointments within their family cycle. This is a government that appoints only people who are their political friends. This is a government that only appoints people within their tribal cycle. I think it's one of the worst governance in the world, and not in Africa. This is a government that will tell you to go to hell or sell your card until 2027. Will people die before the 2027? It's a government that, insecurity is nothing to them until one of their own is touched. People are dying. There is a lot of insecurity, but the government doesn't care. This is a government that there is no food in the land, and they do not make any agricultural policy that will affect the masses positively. So if any person is saying that people are attacking the government, it means you are not in this country. If you are in the country, even within the government cycle, they know that some of the policies are not fair to people to them. But they cannot talk because they are enjoying the canopy of this government. Some people in the government are not happy with what is happening, but they cannot talk because if they talk, they will be dropped from their position. People are hungry. People are dying. There's no hospital. There's no road. What is government for the people? What is government? That people are not doing anything. They are not enjoying any facility. There's no road something. So what more? How can we describe the government worse than this? So, Inshallah, I think this government is one of the worst in the world, not only in Africa.
Well, thank you very much. That was how you started. I'll be perfectly honest with you. My heart broke last night when I know it's possible that the 8-year-old was put on the phone by her parents. A little girl called me yesterday on the Shalaja's show between 7 and 9 p.m. And after we chatted, I was curious at why she was calling, wondering if she was going to make some comment regarding the show and all that. She ended up by saying, I am hungry. I haven't eaten today. We haven't eaten, the she even said today, I haven't eaten since yesterday. And unfortunately, I was looking for the opportunity to get her number. Or her parents' number to see how these things are, what to do within my limited space. But anyway, yes, the calls continue. Good morning. Hello? Hello, good morning. Okay. I think that that's a drop call. 0916-770-9564. This is the Burgami Breakfast Show. Okay. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Good morning. How are you? Who's calling and where are you calling from?
My name is Benga from Life Camp.
Benga, hi.
Good morning, Mr. Shola.
Yes, brother.
Good morning, Mr. Guest.
Good morning.
I've discovered in recent times, because I think you're having in this country, that to be applauded, to be clapped for, to be acceptable on television and radio is for you to insult your country, lambast your country, call your country different name, and you see people clapping and laughing. The last caller said Nigeria is the worst country in Nigeria. And I said, and I had everybody in the studio laughing, and like you, yes, this is it. Is that true? Nigeria is the worst country in the world? I think we need to be realistic. We need to be really circumspect. Yeah, we are facing challenges. Somebody commented Nigeria is the worst country in the world, and we are laughing, applauding. That means we are sanctioning what he says. Where is the figure? Where is the fact to support that? Opinion is free. Fact is sacred. Truth universal. Is there any truth in that? Is there any fact he has produced that Nigeria is the worst country? I'm really ashamed of myself this morning, and I'm really disappointed. I don't be popular. People say they are being paid by agents of government, but Nigeria is not the worst country in the world. Even in Africa, even in West Africa, it's not the worst. Yes, we have challenges, we have problems. And this government is trying. You know what people want is buy bag of rice for 10,000 naira. If you don't have road, if you don't have infrastructure, it doesn't concern them. So that is bag of rice everywhere. And that's what the past government have done to us. Filter away our resources. Now we are suffering for it. But a week ago said that he left $70 billion in their reserve and in our foreign in our coffer. Can you tell me what $70 billion were used to do after Chibazaje left? Can you point to anything tangible? $7 billion, not naira. And we see borrow money with Jonathan. And with Jonathan, we have average of $100 per barrel, producing 2 barrels per day. Even if it not generate any revenue, that $70 billion will have turned our road, will have created infrastructure rate in Nigeria. If we have used our resources when we have the plenty to provide rail, infrastructure, health system and power, and they are stable. Man just say he spends $15 billion on power. Where is it today? If those money have been spent judiciously, we will not be where we are today, even though first subsidy removed. We are actually connecting Nigeria together from Wuse to Abadi, from Bega to Kuali to Suleja, from Wuse to Malaba. Nobody will bother about how much they are selling for. All of us will bother our car and be entering train. Because those money, when we had the surplus, we are filtered the wisdom. That's why we are feeling the suffering here now. And now the blame is on somebody who say, no, I will not borrow money to pay subsidy again. Let's face infrastructure. Let's feed the pain and correct all these things. It's a demon. It's a bad person. It's suffering the public. Let's be realistic. We can't continue in that attitude of using our resources to import rice, to subsidize rice, subsidize dollar, and see we have a good country. Before Buhari left, we have to do a exchange rate, 450 and 800 naira. We could not pay because we're using our dollar, we are using from fuel to subsidize dollar in Nigeria. We could not pay 7 billion liability, or people came to do in Nigeria, they could not take their money away. None of them ran away. People like Emery left Nigeria. This will make them so. You can't continue like this. Unify the naira, and now we're able to gather enough foreign currency to pay all these debts, 7 billion. Now Emirates is back. Investors are coming to the country. This is a bad government. Let's continue now. Let's continue to use our money and buy all these things, goody, and say nothing, and see how the future will be. I will not support that. I'm feeling the pain that this government has taken enough something. If the $2.21 billion of the amount for security during Jonathan was used judiciously, will not be because of insecurity today, they are not allowed to go to that. Nobody asked for that. $2.1 billion. Go and check the conversion today. To fight insecurity, that money was stolen away. Nobody could account for it. If that money had been used to buy jets, buy weapons, nobody can buy it today. They preach to that kind of Jonathan in the government because during the time they're buying the bag of that for 10,000 naira. It's the best government not so far. Is that what we want?
Thank you.
For that. Thank you very much.
Benga, thank you very much. When Oga Gabriel mentioned the fact that it's not the worst in Africa, it's the worst in the world. Sometimes there is a relief. There is a relief in laughter. You don't know exactly where we stand, whether we agree or don't agree. I don't remember anybody in the studio applauding. Suleiman, if you applauded, I wasn't aware. I think, but we reacted to the way he put it, based on the other listeners who may agree with him or may not. But anyway, let's continue to take the calls. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, sir. Can you raise your voice a little bit? Hello? Okay, I think we lost that call. Okay. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Agent.
Yes, brother. But please raise your voice a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah, this is Abubakar Mohammed from Abu.
Yes, Abu.
Now, good morning to our guests in the studio.
Good morning.
And I'm talking about the Mo Ibrahim report concerning Nigeria. Can the last caller fall any of the indices? Can he fall any of the indices? Is it a lie? Or is it because we are Nigerians and people say the truth about our country, we should not believe them? He has his own opinion, and these facts are there. They are sacrosanct. So he cannot come here and tell us that people are saying bad things about our country. We are laughing. Nobody is laughing. But that is the truth. And we are concerned that all these bad indices concerning our government, our country, should be worked upon so that we can have good business. Is it not the bad policy taken by this government that will bring us into this very difficult situation? Is it a lie? Is he not trying to make Nigeria a standard, living a standard of Nigerians better? There should be no excuses. If you say you are going to do it, you have to do it. How you are going to do it is left to you. So we are feeling the pain, we are feeling the bad, the situation is bad, and we have to talk about it. It is our country. If you don't want people to talk about what you are doing, leave the stage. You cannot come here and occupy public service and expect everybody to keep quiet when things are going wrong. It is our country, it is our government, we voted them, and we want them to get it right. So Benga should stop saying that Nigerians are complaining. It is our right to complain. He has his own opinion, and he must allow our opinion also to be counted. The indices internationally and locally, they are not good. And we want our government to listen to our citizens, listen to people who know the economy, people who know economics. There's no shame when you listen to people who advise you and you correct your mistake and we get it right. If the president got it wrong, all of us are going to suffer, and that is where we are today. If he gets it right, everybody is going to enjoy, and that is what we want to see happening in our own country. This is democracy. People have the right to voice out, and the government has the responsibility to listen to the citizens. A listening government is a government that is likely to succeed. But where you don't want to listen, and if people criticize you, get annoyed and employ people to come to the radio and be shouting at people who are taking their own opinion, it will never work for you. We have the belief that the president knew something about governance and he can turn around this country for better. Unfortunately, he is here today, it is still happening. We are not saying he should leave that stage, but we are telling him that we have got it done. Please, Mr. President, this is the way to go. Let us change our middle of ranting so that we can get it right. If a bag of rice is getting out of hand and you say people should not complain, is it not our country? If the president gets it right and the bag of rice come down, are we not going to clap for him? So our own concern is Nigeria should get it right. Nigerians should be happy in their own country. People should stop begging in their own country. Security situation should improve in our own country. We want to see infrastructure improve. You have removed the subsidy. You say you are making so much money, and governors and the federal government are sharing money. I will not seeing the impact. You say we cannot complain. please, we have the right to complain, and we want you to make it better so that everybody will laugh at the end of the day. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Abu. Thank you very much. I think we brought out some statistics yesterday, and it's interesting that the gentleman who revealed some of the, some of the worms coming out of the NNPCL is somebody who you never expected to say much about it. He's taken one of the arms of government to court for issuing licenses for people to import things that are already more than abundant in Nigeria. Is that not corruption? So, and two of the things that were highlighted in this report were corruption and insecurity. Please, Abubakar, thanks for your comment. Yes, sir. Good morning. Good morning.
Morning, my brother. My name is Barry Daniel, calling from Abacha Road.
Yes, Barry, how are you?
Very good, Lord Almighty, and you and family.
Amen. Good. Go right ahead.
Morning, our girls.
Good morning.
Well, the country, governance of the country, if there's any other word to describe it more than bad, you should put it on that scale. So, Shola, I keep on telling you, we're ruling with the gangsters. Those are gangsters. Now, I don't want to join the war. But the bad governance is one of it that someone will call and say, why will you talk? That's one aspect of the bad governance. The bad governance we're talking about, is it Jonathan that floats the Naira? That the Naira is hitting 1,700 or something? If you're pointing a finger, the others, why are they pointing it? We're talking about solution. What would bring the country back? Though we used to know the country is. Not coming pointing finger on our citizens saying that why do you want to complain? That is the bad governance. Mr. Shola, on your mandate we should try. Not on the mandate of the citizen we should try. Not on the mandate of the country we should try. Not on the mandate of my brother. But on your mandate, what are we talking about? Those are gangsters. Want to fight. Question, please. Is it true? That question is to our guest now, President. Is it true that our president cannot go to the United States of America?
Well, I think we lost that one.
Hello, I say, is it true that our president cannot go to the United States of America and that is indicted? Is it true?
Well,
Is it true that the policies that our country is flying and driving on is the policies of World Bank of IMF? Is it true? And it worked the day. And is it true that he's trying to do their bidding so that they will forgive his sins, so that his country will not know the sins he do, so that he sins no more? Is it true? Is it true that the bad government today, our farmers cannot go to farm? Is it true? The person that called is talking about criticizing our country. Has he taken a drive from here to Plateau? Has he taken a drive to some place and see the worst situation of the road that he's talking about infrastructure? Is it true that NNPC, what is their production? What is NNPC production of crude before this government comes into play? What is the production? Why are you driving to West Germany today? Are bungles that they are CNG? You don't go say you are talking about CNG. Your trust came factory builders, not converts.
Because we're short on time, we're definitely should, anyway, but thanks for your comment. We have less than 4 minutes to go. I think I'm going to have to get back to my guest. Suleiman, you've heard the comments. What's your take on all of that?
Thank you for calling, all of those who called. But I think I would like to also address some of the issues that Benga raised. Let me make this categorically clear to you, Mr. Benga. We are not laughing because of the current situation in the country, just like Mr. Shola said. We are just reacting the way he said it. We are all concerned like everybody else. That's why we are here to discuss these issues, to provide solutions, to advise the government and provide solutions. So for you to accuse us of laughing, I think it's a little bit disingenuous, please. Let me also say this, that Nigeria is a laughing stock in the international community. Let me tell you this.
Very correct. Very correct.
If you don't know, right? Because in a country whereby the citizens are suffering, are crying of lack of better education, better healthcare, better infrastructure, lack of unemployment opportunities, lack of employment opportunities for young people, we push them to take arms, to be deceived by bad elements in the society, to take arms and kill people and kidnap people, right? While the leaders are busy buying $100 million jet, are busy buying hundreds of millions of naira cars, exotic, luxurious cars, where they take their children to go abroad for education, where they take themselves and their families and their relatives abroad for healthcare, where they fly. They don't use our bad roads. What are you talking about? These are all evident. These are things that can be seen by everybody and can be felt by anyone. So we're just talking about the reality of the situation on ground. We're not demonizing anybody. We're not, painting anyone in a bad light. We're just talking about things that are true, and we are providing solutions to these things. Let our leaders be patriotic enough to put the interest of the country first ahead of their own interest. You can't be using the country's limited resources to spend on yourself and your own family, leaving the citizens that put you into power in hunger, in poverty, in lack of education and healthcare, and then you say people should not complain. Is that how leadership is? Leadership is an act of sacrifice and service. That's how I come to know what leadership is. But now you're sacrificing the citizens at your own expense, and now you're telling them, don't speak. Is that a democracy? What are we talking about in this country? I understand your pain, right? I understand you're being patriotic, but you have to also understand that we are speaking from the angle of the pain that the citizens are going through. You are, I think, looking at it from the angle of maybe the leaders who are busy enjoying. I was watching an interview the other day. A senator is saying they are collecting 14 million naira every month salary. 14 million, and he's saying that it's not enough. What are we talking about? When even the 17 naira minimum wage, some governors are still, battling to pay it. And a senator is collecting 14 million every month, 14. And he's still saying that it's not enough for him. What are we talking about in this country? What are we saying? Yeah. Please, we have to always look at things from the, from truth and reality. Even the Mo Abraham report, please, I urge you to go and look a deeper look into the report and tell me everything that they reported is things that are happening in the country.
Sorry,
right? So please, let's not be saying that we are demonizing or we are criticizing. No, we are, of course, it is our own right to criticize because democracy gives us that right. And we are not only criticizing, but we are providing solutions. The government must look into the policies and reverse some of the policies in order to ease the pain of the citizens.
Brother Monday, I think we're out of time. I totally understand and I agree with you very clearly. Unless you've never been outside the shores of this country, you will not realize what a laughing stock we are. It's not the issue of patriotism. There's none more patriotic than myself or Monday or Suleiman. When we laugh, it's just not not just the way the gentleman said it, but there's a certain reality to the way that he said it. Thank you so much. Our topic has been, is Nigeria among the worst governed nations in Africa, slash the world. but anyway, that has been the program for this morning from Burgami Breakfast Show. Shola J. We'll bring you another episode tomorrow, and which, without a doubt, you will enjoy. This episode has been produced by Chinedu Echeno, and please have a wonderful Monday. Thank you.